Hey guys, and welcome on into the next NHL season preview show. And today we're going to be talking all about the Carolina Hurricanes, looking at their additions and subtractions, upcoming free agents, possible lineup for opening night, as well as team future bets and player future bets for the season. And to talk about the Canes, I brought in Canes and Wild fan, NHL All-Star Bets. You can find him on Twitter, NHL All-Star Bets. The link is in the description below. Uh, give yourself a little bit of an introduction to everyone, and then we will begin the show.
Hey, I'm NhlAllStarBets. My nickname is Raleigh, so Canes fan here. But I love hockey. I live, eat, sleep, work. All my jobs involve hockey. I coach hockey, play hockey, ref hockey, bet on hockey. I live, sleep, eat hockey.
All right, perfect. And you know the Canes, which is great. We're going to jump right into it with the first segment here, which is additions and subtractions. Taking a look at the guys that have come in and the guys who have left here in the offseason. And I always start with the subtractions, so I'll continue that here. Antti Ranta, really, it was time to move on. It was time to move on from Ranta. So many injuries, and the Canes having three goalies, and Ranta with Anderson, meaning that Kochekov had to go to the AHL until one of the guys eventually got injured, which they usually do. So really, it was just time to move on from Ranta, and that's what the Canes did. Stefan Nason was a good depth guy. He's no longer with the team. Three defensemen: Tony DeAngelo, Brett Pesce, and Brady Shea, all gone. So the Canes losing three defensemen here. However, they have depth with defense. Brett Pesce, it was just a matter of time for him to go. Tony DeAngelo doesn't really fit too well on a lot of teams, so no big surprise to see him go. But it's the bottom three on offense. Teuvo Teravainen going off to Chicago, of course, getting some money from the Blackhawks. So it doesn't surprise me that he went there. He'll have a much bigger role on the Blackhawks than he would have here in Carolina. Evgeny Kuznetsov came for a little bit at the end of the season, the playoffs, and then now is off. Went back home to Russia, so maybe he was just feeling homesick. He's in Russia. Jake Gensel didn't play too long with the Canes, but he did play well with Carolina. He's now off to Tampa Bay. So you've got Ronta, who's kind of a backup goalie, Stefan Nason, kind of a depth guy, three defensemen and three forwards. All these players played on the Canes last year in the lineup at different times. A lot of these guys full-time members. So quite a big subtraction list. Now we look at the additions. Tyson Jost, a former Wild player, he's a depth guy. He's a fourth line guy or a guy that rides the bench in the press box. He's not really a full-time guy on a Stanley Cup contending team. Sean Walker coming in here on defense. I like that signing. I think he's definitely going to help soften the blow with some of the other guys that left. Eric Robinson, another depth guy for the bottom six. Shane Gostisbehere has really found the offense the last few years on defense. So another good signing there for the Canes. William Carrier to a 6-year deal, which was a little bit long in my opinion, and Jack Roslovic as well. So really, when I look at the additions and I look at the subtractions, I do have to say that the Canes got worse here. Some of the forwards here they brought in are depth guys for the bottom six. They did bring in two defensemen to help soften the blow from other than a defenseman leaving. But I think the Canes lost some offense here in this lineup. Yes, it's your turn. What do you think? Additions and subtractions.
I might add Martin Necas on additions because everyone thought he was going to leave. And for our core, I'd say would be Jacob Slavin, Aho, Svechnikov, Jarvis, and Jordan Stahl. Those are like the glue to our team. I'd throw in Pyotr Kochetkov too because I'm really high on him. But like subtractions, Stefan Nason, bro, he would be a player I would want on my team. Get in your face, get into the front of the net. He hits. He's an energy guy. He's not going to be like in the top 2 lines, but like when you put him out there, he produced like in the playoffs too. I love players like that. Tony D'Angelo, another player, hits, physical, gets in your face. I love that type of hockey. Pesce and Shea are huge losses. New Jersey Devil fans are going to love Pesce. He can kill penalties. He's responsible. Brady Shea on Nashville, he moves the puck so good. The Canes, I love. That's why I became a Canes fan. Nobody moves the puck like them. Like they get the puck up the ice so quick. Slavin, Burns, Shea, Pesce, Orlov, Chatfield, get the puck in the D zone, get it up the ice quick to Natchez, Svechnikov, Jarvis, go to town, get that puck deep. Teravainen, he's nasty. Chicago is going to like him. He can shoot the puck with a purpose, and he was scoring goals for the Canes finally, and that probably made other people want him. Kuznetsov, he had a sick goal in the playoffs. I remember that versus the Isles, and this one broke my heart. Jake Gensel. So he played on a line with Jarvis and Aho. That line, they were getting like 2 points a game in the regular season and averaging a point per game in the playoffs. I didn't think he'd want to leave that situation, but if you offered me Kucherov and Braden Point, yeah, I'm leaving. No question. So additions, I like Tyson Jost. He's from North Dakota. He actually did good with the Wild on the 4th line. I don't hate giving players a chance to play because you never know what can happen. Sean Walker, he's like the Brady Shea, like quick feet, get that puck up the ice, get the puck to the net. I love that. And he hits. He's very physical. I don't really know a bunch about Eric Robinson because I didn't really watch the Sabres that much. I assume he's like more of a depth piece. Shane Gostisbehere, I am excited to see how he runs our power play because he's coming back for round 2. And like, if he's coming back for round 2, you must have liked something you saw. You know what I mean? And like, he looked good on the Red Wings. William Carrier, I love this player. He's the Stefan Nason replacement. Get the puck deep, go hit people, get to the front of the net. He scored huge goals for the Vegas Knights in the playoffs. He was a big piece for them. I actually really like that addition. That was a big surprise for me. Jack Roslovic was another big surprise. He's such a skill player. He's playing first line on the New York Rangers. He looked good. I think he was on the 2nd power play though, because the Rangers are absolutely stacked. He can score goals. He might be a huge piece for the Canes. I am hoping. I don't know what line you might put him on because you can put him on 1, 2, or 3. Like you can put him with Natchez and like Kokaniemi or like Aho Jarvis, but like that line wouldn't have very much size. And then we got Svechnikov. You can put him with that to get him the puck, playmaker. We got options in the Canes.
Awesome. We'll move on to the second segment, which is upcoming free agents. These are guys that are after the season, their contracts will be expiring. And we'll start with you again here for this segment. Who should the Canes be focusing on re-signing, and who could they probably let go in the offseason?
So Jesper Fast is the name that jumps out to me. I love Jesper Fast on the 3rd line. He is reliable. He kills penalties with Stahl. Canes always have a good penalty kill. I'd never have to worry about the Canes penalty kill. It's the power play. But I would want to re-sign a guy like Jesper Fast. You know what I mean? He's just a good player. And then I wouldn't really be mad about like Brendan Lemieux and like Eric Robinson. Like I like Brendan Lemieux. He's willing to be physical, do the dirty work, stick up for. He's a good teammate. You know, he's there to stick up for guys, hit people, like set the tone, get energy. I wouldn't be like happy, but I wouldn't be like it's the end of the world. Same with Tyson Jost. For a defenseman, Brent Burns. Can he please get a Stanley Cup? Like he's such a good guy. Like I love like what he does with his family. Like his kids. I hope his kids like play hockey because I would want to like grow up and be like Brent Burns. Wouldn't you? What a great like role model. Just how he takes care of himself, how he plays every day, professional. I would want to resign Brent Burns. He would be a great teammate, and he shoots the puck. Like I love that Brent Burns, bro.
He's just getting a little bit old.
But he
But yeah,
takes care. He only eats like animals. He kills animals and he eats them. So I'm like, he's like on that Joe Rogan diet. Goalies,
awesome.
what say? Freddie Anderson. I'm not sold on Freddie. I think it's Pyotr Kochekov time, the Russian national goalie. Because goalie is a huge problem for the Canes in the playoffs because we play tight games. And like we need to win by 1 goal. And Freddie lets in the 1 goal. I would not be sad to see Freddie. Can we trade him and get some more pieces?
Well, yeah, any of these guys here, the Canes could trade at the deadline if
And
there's
like we
somebody
were
else.
aggressive last deadline. So I'm like, so another subtraction is Don Waddell, our GM. He does such a good job drafting. I would be high on Columbus. I like Don Waddell.
Awesome. For me here, Jesper Fast, like you mentioned, sadly he's going to be out the entire season with injury. So he may have already played his last game with Carolina. Just the fact that he's not going to play all year, I don't know if the Canes will resign him. Maybe they sign him to a 1 year deal, but there's going to be question marks when he comes back if he can still play to the level he did before. The other four guys on the forwards list are all depth guys that you can replace in free agency. So if these guys mesh well, some of the new guys here, if they mesh well with the Canes, then I could see them re-signing. If not, you let them go and you re-sign someone similar in free agency. Defense, the big two names there, Orlov and Burns. Re-sign them to a 1 year deal each. They're both kind of getting up there in age, but if the Canes don't want to have their defensive group change 2 years in a row, then yeah. What are your
I
thoughts?
totally forgot to talk about Orlov. So the Canes play a style of hockey where they don't put a leash on their defensemen. They let them jump up in the rush. Orlov gets a lot of he's an offensive defenseman. He likes to jump up in the rush. He gets a lot of good looks. He just couldn't bury last season. He got so many. I am so high on that dude. He's very smart. He's tough. He's tough. Him and Chatfield, they play some hard minutes. Like versus the third and fourth line, the checking lines, and they do a good job. I really like Dmitry Orlov. He would be one of my high priorities to sign. I forgot to mention that. Sorry, Terry.
All good. Yeah, so those guys getting up there in age, but if the Canes don't want to have their defense change drastically 2 years in a row, they probably re-sign both of those guys to short-term deals. And then Frederick Anderson, he's had injuries. He like Antti Ranta, he's been a goalie that's been injured a lot. Last year, he played in 16 games. The season before 34, the season before 52, 24 the season before that. So really, yes, some of those years shortened a little bit, but he has been a goalie that gets injured.
Like,
Now, when you look at what he did last year, 13-2 record with a 1.84 goals against average. He was absolutely fantastic in the regular season. So if he comes out playing like that, he's still going to be the starting goaltender on this team. But when playoffs come around, maybe they look at Kachekov. Maybe not. Yeah, what do you think?
So Freddie Anderson, he has a ton of playoff hockey experience. That is valuable. And like when he it's not like the Canes got blown out. He did his job. He just didn't make the one save, which sounds way easier than it does. Like playing goalie is the hardest position in hockey by far. Like I wouldn't play goalie. He could be valuable for a team because he has a lot of playoff experience. Ducks, Leafs, Canes. Like he's a good goalie.
Yeah, he might just need to be a backup somewhere. That's all. He could be a really good backup for somewhere. Next up is possible lineup. This is what the opening lineup could look like. Jesper Fast, of course, as I mentioned, is out for the season. So that's why he's in red there. Tyson Jost, he's in white, meaning he's most likely a depth guy. So he makes the lineup because of injury, or maybe he plays in the fourth line at some point. But overall, that top line is great. There's not much that really needs to be said. Svechnikov, Aho, and Jarvis, that's a very, very strong first line. Seth Jarvis cashed on him quite a bit last season on his anytime goal prop. We'll be looking to bet him again this year when the season starts. That second line, Jordan Stahl, Martin Necas, and Jordan Marnook. Jordan Stahl is also getting up there in age, and he's really been a third line guy for the Canes. And now, if he does have to step up and take that second line center role, I think that might be a lot to ask for him at this point. He was been so great in that third line role, so maybe things move around here, and he does end up on the third line. William Kerr, Kotkaniemi, and Roslovic. That's a good third line. Fourth line, a good defensive fourth line. So the forwards, I like the top line, but I think there's some question marks with scoring in the middle two lines. That might be the issue the Kings have this year. Defense, Slavin and Burns, Orloff and Chatfield, Gostisbehere and Walker. I like all six of those guys. Defense, don't really see that being an issue for the Canes. Goaltending, Frederik Anderson's probably not gonna put up the numbers he did last season. Of course, he didn't play a full season, but that's incredibly hard to put up numbers like that. So I would expect him to come down to earth a little bit from last year. Chekhov could be ready for that starting job. So overall, like the goalies, I love the defense. I like that top line a lot, but I think there's some question marks when it comes to offense from lines 2 and 3 for the Kings. What do you think here? Possible lineup for opening night?
I love the Canes lineup. We can match up very well versus anybody. So I love Jordan Stahl. He is like when the Penguins come to town, every time Crosby steps on the ice, we put Jordan Stahl out. He plays against the best players in the NHL night in and night out. He doesn't complain, does his job. And that Martinook, and I think he's going to play with Jordan. So Jordan Stahl, Martinook, and Roslovic. I think that can be because like Jesper Foss was a wing and he's out now. So I think like Roslovic could slide in. But also Necas. I am so happy he came back. He is such a skilled player. I hope we actually give him more like chances to like he was asking. Like I want the puck on my stick. He every time we go to overtime, Necas just scores the overtime winner. I don't know why. He just loves overtime 3-on-3 because he's so fast. That top line, Svechnikov, Canes people have been calling Svechnikov out. Where's the 40-goal season been? You have you've been in the league since 18, like since he's been 18. Think about that. He's been in the NHL since 18. He's nasty. He's got such a good shot. He's big, strong. Aho, he's the best player on the Canes. He's our guy. He's such a good player. He reminds me like a Martin St. Louis. Not the biggest guy, but boy does he's so skilled and he gets his points. If I was going to pick one player to have 100 points on the Canes, like take a long shot, it would be Sebastian Aho. Seth Jarvis, he's our goal scorer. Him and Svechnikov, they can shoot the puck for real. I love Seth Jarvis. He's a good locker room guy. He keeps it light. He's funny. He's funny on social media. I love watching him. And then William Carrier, Kokniemi. Kokniemi, dude, people think he's not that good. He definitely is a good depth player to have on your team because, like, he makes plays out there. He was a first-round pick. You just don't happen to be a first-round NHL pick. You can't fluke that. Jack Drury, he could be the second-line center. Him and Kokniemi, I think, because they're going to have to compete. Jack Drury, he's a responsible defensively. I actually really like him. He played for Harvard. He did some big minutes for us in the playoffs, and he wins faceoffs. That is very valuable. Brendan Lemieux and Robinson, I hope you hit a bunch of people. Just body check. Defensively, like I said, Jacob Slavin, him and Aho are the two most important players on the Carolina Hurricanes. Jacob Slavin can do it all. Not really score goals though, but he can jump up in the rush and has some offensive. He's got some offensive skill, but him and Jordan Stahl will put them out on the ice versus like the Panarin line or like the Jack Hughes line. Have fun going against Jordan Stahl and Jacob Slavin. I love them. Burns, he's his D partner, another great NHL veteran. I love Burns. He shoots the puck. Orlov and Chatfield, I think they're going to be the third pair. I don't know if they're going to be a pair, though, because Gostisbehere and Walker, I don't know, like, are they both offensive defensemen? They're like, one's stay at home, one's a two-way, because I know Gostisbehere, he's an offensive defenseman. And, like, Chatfield's more of a stay at home guy. Orlov's more of a two-way, and I'd say Sean Walker's a two-way. I love Sean Walker. When he played on the Avs, they used him. He's like kind of low-key, like Devon Taves. You know what I mean? Like really good at moving the puck. All the Canes defensemen move the puck up the ice quick. That's what I love about the Canes. Quick transitions. And we shoot the puck a lot from the point. Goalies.
Awesome. Any thoughts on goalies?
Pyotr Kochetkov. It is time. We need you. And I think he can do it. Because, like, those Russian goalies, man, there's something about them. Like Sorokin, Igor, any other Russian goalies you can think of? Vasilevsky.
Varlamov, but he's
Varlamov. Like, it's time. It is time. We need a goalie. And, like, who's the backup goalie? Yanov Peretz, some guy we drafted, or we got some KHL goalie on track.
Well, it's Anderson and Kochetkov, and then there's guys in the AHL.
Spencer Martin, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Team future bets here. Taking a look at the Hurricanes bets for this season. And we'll start looking at the standings and the point total here. Canes, 111 points last year, second in the Metro. And now their point total is 100.5. So the books are saying that the Canes are going to drop this year. They're going to drop about 10 points in the books' minds here. And you're not going to like this, but I do think that the Canes are going to take a step back this year. I do. I think that they're going to struggle to score at times. And if their goaltending isn't quite strong enough, I do think they're going to take a step back this year. But they're still going to make the playoffs. I don't think this team's going to fall apart. It's just they might struggle to score at times. Win division is very difficult. You've got the Rangers, and you've got New Jersey, who's drastically improved um, in some spots at least. Um, it's a tough division. Stanley Cup, Conference, President's Trophy, those are kind of bets I look at more. Well, President's Trophy, I don't really bet, but Conference and Stanley Cup will be something that I'll look at more during the regular season if I like how the Kings are playing. Um, really, when I'm looking at this page, there's no future bets I have for the Canes. The 100 and a half point total. I have questions about it. So I want to see how the Canes play, and then I'll look at their future bets as the season goes on. What do you think here? Future bets for the Canes.
My favorite bet would be the 100.5 points. That I feel like that's disrespectful. I would I'd sprinkle on win the division. We're definitely going to be in the mix. We're in the mix almost every season. We're a good regular season team. I don't have to worry about the regular season. We have so much depth, like, and we have, if we get injuries and we don't have people, we have people to fill in because we have prospects that I really like. I think we can win the division. It's going to be the Rangers, Devils, and Canes, and like we don't know who's going to win, so I'd sprinkle a little bit, just see what happens. Stanley Cup is a long shot. You never know. Like NHL playoffs are insane. President's Trophy. I mean, like I've seen crazier things happen, but I just want to win the division. That would be my goal to be the Canes. Like win the Metro, get the first seed, get home seed, or get home ice advantage in the playoffs. And I think that 100-point total was disrespectful.
Really? Okay. Well, we'll have to see what happens with the win division. For me, it's I like the Rangers a little bit more, and I like the Devils a little bit more. Now that doesn't mean the Canes can't win,
It's going to be a
but
mix. It's going to be interesting. So I just throw something on it, because it's going to be interesting.
yeah. And then the President's Trophy, I couldn't recommend someone to bet the President's Trophy just because I do see the Kings taking a step back from last year. And last year they had 111 points, which was second in the conference, so behind the Rangers. So they did have a very good season, but I'm worried about that offense. I'm worried if Sebastian Aho was to get hurt, then
I would
how
cry.
would the Canes fill that spot offensively? Especially down the middle, they look a little bit light. So there's some questions for the Canes, but I do like them to make the playoffs here.
I don't think we're light down the middle. Jack Drury, Kokaniemi, Jordan Stahl, Aho. I would take that.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if Aho was to get hurt,
I know what you mean.
Jordan Stahl can't do that number one role.
Oh,
He's
oh,
he's he's not an offensive. He's like you said,
he's the
he's good in that
shutdown.
third line, being the defensive guy against all the
Yeah.
other teams top. So he wouldn't fit well in the top line. Drury, I don't think Kotkaniemi or Drury are ready for it. So the Canes need to stay healthy. And that's a perfect segue here into our next segment, which is player future bets. Svechnikov. He played in 59 games last year, 64 the season before that, 78 in 21-22. He did have one full game, 82 game season in 2018, 2019, his first year. That was the only season he's played a full NHL year. And when I'm looking at player future bets, I want to bet on a guy that stays healthy. So Svechnikov, I can't do it. I can't bet his future bets here because he's just had a tough time staying healthy. Sebastian Aho, 36 goals back-to-back seasons. He had 37 the season before that. So he's been hitting this goal total, although just barely. And now I did say I have questions about the Canes offense, but not on that top line. So I could see Aho having a good season here once again. 78 games last year, 75, 22, 23, and 79 in 21, 22. So he is missing a few games, but overall, not too much injury history with Aho. Seth Jarvis, 27 and a half goals last year. I would take that over. 33 last year, only 14 in 22 23. He played in 82 games in 22 23, 81 games last year. But he's 22. He had a fantastic season last year, but I think we're only at the beginning of what Jarvis can do. I think he's going to continue to improve from last year when he had 33 goals and 67 points. So I would take Jarvis goals over, and I would take Jarvis point total over. I think he has a great season for the Canes. Martin Necas, 25 and a half goals is his goal total. He had 24 last season, 28 the season before that. So he does have the goal scoring ability. The issue is who is he going to be playing with on that second line? Because if Necas was on that top line as the right wing in Jarvis's spot, then I would be looking at Necas props. But on that second line, when I have questions about the offensive depth for the Canes, I just can't look at Martin Necas. And then the goalies. That's where things are really interesting here. A lot of teams only have one goalie prop, but the Canes have got two, and they're both at 23 and a half wins. So looking at last season here, Anderson, of course, as I said, only had 13 wins in 16 games played. The season before that, 21 wins in 34 games played. The season before that, 35 wins in 52 games played. How many games is Anderson going to play? That is the question if you're looking at his win total. If you think Kochetkov is going to get a majority of the starts, and if you think Anderson, with his injury history, could miss some games, then you want to look at the under for Anderson and maybe the over for Kochetkov. But I don't know what the Canes are going to do because, as I said earlier, if Anderson plays like he did last year with that 1.86 goals against average, he's going to be starting some games if he's healthy. And then Brendan Moore, Jack Adams, it would be so hard for him to win the Jack Adams just because the Canes have been there at that fighting for the top of the division like for quite a few years now. So for Brendan Moore to win the Jack Adams, the Canes would have to get 130 points and be way ahead of than any other team and just have a fantastic season, I think, for Brendan Moore to get the Jack Adams. So on this list here, Seth Jarvis, goals over, points over on that top line. Do any of these player future bets catch your eye?
So I don't know what exactly Rod Brindamore is going to have the lines because we don't know if Svechnikov is going to be on the first line or Necas could. I think Necas, Jarvis, Aho, Svechnikov, extremely high-skilled players. Svechnikov, what is he known for? Shooting the puck and being big and strong. I think he can get 30. Canes people are calling him out to get 40. Like you said, he doesn't stay healthy. So it's like a risky bet. I'd risk it. Aho, I would 100% not even have to think twice. He's getting 82 points. He's the man. We rely on him. He's first line power play. He's touching the puck a lot. He wants the puck on his stick. He scores clutch goals for us. The goal one would be more risky for me. I'd definitely do the points. Jarvis, he's the goal scorer. He's hitting 30, I'd hope. But he just got paid. So you know how that is. Natchez, we don't know what the Canes are going to do with lines. If he plays with Roslovic, that could be a nasty line with like Kokaniemi or Drury in the middle instead of like Stahl. Like that could be nasty. Like Roslovic's a good playmaker. Like, you're just not throwing him on the line with some random. Like I could see him. I would go more Natchez points because he's gonna get power play time. Like Kane's always get injured, so we have to change it up. And like you never know, Natchez he might be the man. You know. Kochekov, I would see him having more wins than Freddie. I think he's a better goalie, just better. So I think he's going to win more. Brendamore, that's one of the reasons why I love the Canes. He's the type of coach I would want to play for. If your coach is in the weight room working out harder than you, I'm not going to let that happen. That's going to motivate me. If my coach is putting in more work, that's a leader. That is a real leader. You know, I'm in there working my ass off. Why aren't you? You know what I mean? But like it's the NHL. You don't need to tell these players that.
Yeah, exactly. And that is the Carolina Hurricanes preview show. Everyone give NHL All-Star Bets a follow. You can get his Twitter link in the description below. Anything else you want to say before we finish off the show?
So obviously, my opinion is going to be a little more biased. The Canes are a good hockey team. The systems that Rod Brendamore has, that's what made me a fan of this team. The way they play, the way they get that puck deep, cycle it low to high, shots from the point. That's how you score goals in hockey. It's not pretty dangle. No, this is playoff style team. But we never win the big games. We're so close. And just I hope this window doesn't close because I just love the way the Canes play hockey. Quick transition, give it to Natchez, Jarvis, Aho, quick up the ice, defense jumping up in the rush, no leash on them, let them make their own decisions, man on man in the defensive zone. Everyone hates playing the Canes. Oh, the Canes suck. I love that. That's a compliment. You want teams to hate you, but you never know.
All right. And that's the Canes show. And we will see you guys on the next NHL season preview show. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks, Derry.